It's Saturday morning. Thank you so much for watching NBC6 Voices. I'm Jawan Strader. Well, despite being one of the most educated groups in America, black women are underrepresented in leadership roles in corporate America. And oftentimes, some of those who have a seat at the table say they feel undervalued, but that doesn't stop them from pursuing excellence. And joining me now is a group of amazing leaders in our community now. Miami-Dade Police Captain Elise Dillard, who is the first African-American female special response team commander at the department. She's a bad woman. Also, Bridgette Lumpkin, she's the Director of Business Development for a hedge fund. And Renee Webley, architect and CEO of Raw Design and Consulting. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, man, I'm surrounded by excellence here at the table. Well, let's talk about your challenges. But before we get to that, talk a little bit, Captain, about what you do. I want to hear from all of you.
Well, I'm a 26-year veteran of the Miami-Dade Police Department, and I have really enjoyed my time on the department. Rose up the ranks, you know, who'd have thought this little black girl from Brownsville.
From Brownsville.
From Brownsville, graduate of Miami Northwestern Senior High, would go off to college, graduate, come back, serve my community through the department. So I'm just happy to be here.
Way to go, Bulls. All right. You got that right. All right, Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee Webley. I'm a licensed architect and interior designer. I own my own firm. It's called Raw Design and Consulting. I've been in business for about 7 years and 10 years in the industry, but my business has been around for 7.
And you're a Gator too, right?
Yes, I went to University of Florida.
You gotta make sure you say that you're a Gator. You gotta say it. Bridgette.
Yes. So I raise capital for a hedge fund, and a lot of people don't know what that means. What it means is it's my job to persuade institutional investors to entrust us to invest their money for their constituents, which may be pensioners, might be a pension fund, maybe a foundation, maybe a school, those kinds of investors.
Okay, I'm thinking money. I look at you, I think money. That's what I think right now. I think money.
That's a good thing to think.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's get right to it. Let's talk about just the journey for all of you to get to where you guys are at today. Was it difficult for you, Bridgette?
Yeah. Absolutely. It was difficult. I worked a lot, I studied a lot, and you know, in some of the roles that I've had, I've definitely faced challenges that I think some of my peers didn't face, and so I had to work doubly hard to prove myself and to get what was due, but it's been really fun, so I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it,
yeah.
Despite the challenges. And I want to hear more about the obstacles, because I know there are a lot of challenges there. Renee, you are a handful of basically in your industry as a black woman.
Right.
So how difficult has that been?
It's been pretty difficult. Sometimes when I meet with clients, some people always be surprised who's actually showing up. Like, oh, you know, I'm young, I'm black, and I'm a female. My name's Renee, so sometimes people might mistake that for being a male. And so if they didn't do their research, they might be a little bit surprised to know who it is that's coming into this meeting.
Amen. Wow. And I'm sure just your journey, though, to get to this point, though, was tough.
Yes, definitely. I definitely had situations at certain jobs where I would find out that males that were younger than me and maybe had less experience than me were making more money than me. Maybe they were getting better projects than I was. And so that was hurtful, you know, because you talk to your fellow employees and then you find out, you know, maybe what jobs they're getting within the company, and then what their pay is, and you're like, oh, like,
yeah, my pay isn't that.
Yeah,
like, whoa,
more experience than you.
Wow. Wow, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And Captain, whenever you're the first at anything, that lets us know out there that you had a journey, that it was not easy because you are the first. And so, first of all, it is a pleasure and honor for us to be here amongst the first in history. So, I know it wasn't easy.
No, Jawan, it wasn't. A lot of training, a lot of hard work, a lot of testing, and with the Special Response Team Commander assignment, it took years. It really did. It took years, but persistence pays off. You know, I've trained a lot. I've gotten a lot of certifications, and I would say, why not me? I'm qualified. Look at me. Here I am. So I finally got that opportunity in 2015, and it was a great assignment. Very challenging, but let me tell you, so rewarding.
And you provided us with a picture, and when you look at this picture of you, it's you surrounded by nothing but men. And not just that, in the picture, right here, take a look at this picture. Not just that, not just men. I don't see a black face in this picture except for yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is telling right here about what you had to go through.
Yes, yes, Jawan. It was persistence, and I think that because of the years of experience and the training that I got, and some of the guys there, I mean, a great group of guys, they knew me, they knew I had worked hard, and they knew that this wasn't just any assignment you could just step into. I really, really had to work hard and earn the respect of those men.
My goodness, and I have to ask you this, and then we're going to get moving on. I'm just sorry, I'm just amazed by this. But did they challenge you? Did you ever feel that maybe it crossed the line?
Never crossed the line, I have to tell you that. And I think it's because of the professionalism that I've always displayed. But I will tell you this, they did try me.
They did try you?
Yes, yes, but never crossed the line.
But never crossed the line?
Right.
Okay, well, all right, okay. Well, that's good to hear, but being tried is another thing,
Yeah.
but that's another discussion as well. What are some of the advantages of being a black woman in a male-dominated profession, Bridgette?
No one forgets me. I mean, everyone. When I follow up with phone calls and emails, I tend to get a good response because people absolutely remember me. They remember me the second time they meet me, the third time. So, you know, especially in my role, because I'm essentially a salesperson for the fund, it's really important that people remember you and that you be able to use that as a launching pad for establishing a relationship. And so I do get that advantage where I am memorable, I guess. So that's an advantage.
Would you agree, Renee? Do you find that in your profession?
Yes, I am finding it to be a definite advantage because you do stand out from the rest. You're definitely more memorable. And then once you show your signs of professionalism and just show them that you can bring to the table what anybody else can, it's very rewarded, definitely.
You know, and Captain, you could have used that as an excuse. You know, I'm a woman and I'm a black woman. I can't make it. I just, you know, I'm from Brownsville, but you never did that. Well, maybe you did.
No.
Okay, you never did that.
I never did that. I just worked hard. I really, really, really worked hard. And in our profession, that's what you believe as a woman. You think that if you work hard, that in the end, it'll pay off. It's not always the case, but in my case, it really did. Hard work really paid off, so I feel really blessed.
All right, we're going to continue this discussion. We have so much more we have to get to, so stay with us. Stay with us out there. We'll be right back with more on this great discussion. All right, welcome back to Voices. I'm Jawan Strader, and we continue our conversation with black professional women, their obstacles and struggles that they've had to deal with corporate America. A great conversation we're having this morning. My next question, Bridgette, is what was the most difficult thing for you during your journey up the ladder to getting to where you're at today?
I think stereotypes, being mischaracterized as an angry black woman and as combative. These are literal things they didn't say black, they just said angry, but I knew what that meant. And trying to combat that and be authentic at the same time, because you almost have to overcompensate, but you don't want to be fake because people then use that against you. Oh, you're not authentic. And so you really end up in this trick box, sort of double and triple and quadruple guessing yourself, right? Second guessing yourself, you know, constantly in every interaction, and rereading emails and making sure your tone is right and all of that. Just there's an additional layer of baggage and weight that you carry, making sure that you're managing your perception well, because that's very important in my business, is perception. And so that was a challenge that it took me a while to wrap my head around and get better at, but I applied a lot of effort to that endeavor.
Wow. And that's interesting. What about you two and your challenges? What was the most difficult on your journey? The most difficult?
I'd say the most difficult on my journey was actually working with some female supervisors I found them to be challenging, and that they probably expected much more out of me, maybe because I was a female or because I was young. I just felt like, I don't know, I got picked on a little bit by some supervisors, and
but you
just
never
wasn't
believed that
always-
was because of your race, because you're a black woman? I mean, do you believe it was
some-
because of that?
Some of them, yes, for sure.
And you felt that?
Yes.
Captain, what about, I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, you're going through training and everything else, and I think of like an officer and a gentleman when he's over him and he's pouring the hose, the water on him. What about you and your journey?
Biggest challenge, just proving that I can do this job, that I can run with the best of them, that I got your back as your backup.
Right.
That I'm just as competent. I've got the education, I've got the training, I've got the background for it all, and just having to do so much more.
Right.
So much more, just to prove that, hey, I can do this, you know, and that was the biggest thing.
Wow, and all of you, it sounds so similar because, and there's so many people that go through that.
Yes.
And I'm not going to get into the men, but the whole angry black men syndrome too, it exists out there as well.
Absolutely.
Would you say that black women are undervalued once in their leadership roles?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to measure value in terms of pay or compensation, absolutely. I mean, only, you know, the very, very, very few at the top, in my field at least, get compensated at a level that's anywhere close to their male counterparts or their majority, you know, white guys, basically. I've sat elbow to elbow with guys who couldn't, I mean, really, I ran circles around them in terms of my client coverage and my intelligence and my pedigree and all of those things, and they made literally 2x what I made.
Wow.
Wow, and okay, let's get to that with the pay gap, because I know you guys want to chime in. Okay, this is something that we found out. Data out here shows that women earn 80 cents for every dollar that men make. But when compared to white non-Hispanic men out there, black women make 63 cents on the dollar. On average, a black woman would have to work for 19 months to earn what a white man makes in 12 months. Experts say that there are many contributors to this pay gap, including employment discrimination, gender, racial bias, and lack of transparency. So that gives you guys an idea of what you're dealing with there when you think about that. Okay, I have a good question for all of you here. And let's talk about visibility in the workplace, all right? Do you feel, being a black woman, that you have to look at yourself and how you look, your hair, your makeup, what do you have to conform? Do you believe that because you are a black woman in corporate America, surrounded by a lot of white male counterparts?
I think there's a lot of pressure on you as a black woman to step it up and look the part. The way you dress, the way your hair, everything's going to be scrutinized. So you've got to take it upon yourself. Like me, I tell you, anytime I'm in this uniform, I make sure it's pressed, I look sharp, I stand tall, I smile.
There's been several times I was considering hairstyles, and I would send it to friends and ask guy friends even, like, can I wear this to a meeting? Like, where, you know, I might have a lot of non-black, you know, other professionals, like, would this look professional or not? So there's been a lot of times I can't do maybe exactly what I want to do.
Right.
Because, you know, I don't want to lose an opportunity or a job or a client based off of my appearance. Just try to keep it simple and polished at all times.
And Bridget, you're talking about money around you, so I see you looking wrong. You know, I'm like, oh, well, she's going to wear that. Well, I'm not going to give her my money.
Well, you definitely have to look prosperous. But I will say, what my observation, and this has come with, you know, time and tenure in the field, that everyone has to conform. It's just for some people, it's easier, right? So, and the standard to which you're conforming is closer to some people's natural sort of appearance or their lane than others. So me, I'm a nonconformist by nature, and so conforming is kind of painful for me. But there's certain ways in which I conform very well, like in terms of my personality and my natural style. I fall right in with all of that, right? And so, but in terms of my appearance and the hair, relaxing my hair versus not, I've relaxed that a lot no pun intended, over the last few years. But at the beginning of my career in finance, yeah, it was definitely a lot of Dominican blowouts. A lot of burnt ears.
All right, well, keep that thought. We'll be right back with more on our conversation. Welcome back as we continue our conversation on black women in corporate America and the obstacles and challenges you guys face. And I tell you, this has been a great conversation, but we have to talk about advice for all of the women out there that may be watching this morning. Not just black women, but women in general who are in male-dominated positions. What's the best advice that you can give them out there, Bridgette, as far as trying to overcome some of these challenges and obstacles that you went through?
Well, I think you have to find a way to be yourself. You have to carve out some space for that. Authenticity is so important, at least in my field, because you're dealing with people and developing long-term relationships. But you have to be creative in that, meaning how can you connect to people being authentic and not sort of you know, assuming their interests. So, for example, I don't play golf. I don't pretend to play golf. But, you know, my granddaddy was into cars. And so I talk about that with some of the guys that, you know, sort of, I know a little bit about cars because of that. And so, you know, you gotta think outside the box and find ways to connect.
Man, I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
Shoot, okay. Cars. Okay. Now.
Right. Exactly. So I would say, you know, be yourself and think outside the box to find ways to connect, because really at the end of the day, everybody's people, and they really just, the reason why we get marginalized is because we're unfamiliar. So find ways to make yourself familiar.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. Captain and Renee, I want to hear from you, and especially Captain. I keep on coming back to you, and it's just because your history sitting next to me here. So your advice for those young women out there, especially there's some kids that are watching, some young girls out there, and they wonder if they could do what you're doing.
Again, I reiterate, who'd have thought this little black girl out of Brownsville, graduate of Miami Northwestern, Grambling State University, would get her degree and come back and serve her community. I want them to know that they can do this. They can do this. Hard work, persistence, it pays off, and you get such a reward. You're able to come back and give to your community. So I want them to know that, yes, law enforcement is a great profession. There's a lot of money to be made there. And there are so many different things that you can do. So whatever your passion is, if you want to do special response team, if you want to work with children in DARE, if you want to do crime scene, homicide, these are things that you can attain.
But what if women feel intimidated, Captain? What if they feel intimidated and they feel that they can't?
Well, that's why they can look to leaders like myself. There are women within the department who can help them realize their dream, who can mentor them, who can help them grow. And not only that, we find I've been mentored by a lot of men within my department. So don't look at the I can't do and the things that are the obstacles, but focus on your passion, your dream, what it is that you want to do, work hard, and go for it.
I love that. And Renee, okay, here you are, graduated from a great high school, went to University of Florida, a great school, by the way. A lot of people can't even get into the University of Florida.
Right.
So there are a lot of women out there that are like, wow, you did it. You're a handful of architects, black women architects in South Florida, and you stayed with it. You could have given up.
Yeah. Definitely. There was times at the University of Florida where I actually did want to give up. I had a good friend that she was like, Renee, you're going to be one of the only black female architects in South Florida or in Florida after you graduate. She's like, you can't give up. And I just stuck with that. There was many nights and days working really late at the architecture building. It was pretty intimidating. I was there till 4 in the morning on campus, watching the street cleaners come and clean up the school, and
so you
we're
kept
stuck
on.
there.
You kept on. You could have stopped.
It was very challenging.
You could have stopped.
And then even upon graduating, I had 7 exams to take just to get my license. And a lot of people actually don't complete that whole licensing process.
Yeah.
And they just stay working as like an associate designer. They won't make it to like a principal designer. because they won't want to take all the exams. So it's definitely been a long, challenging process.
I assume that I can do things,
Yeah.
and then I just figure out how to do it after I've already made that assumption. So it's already a foregone conclusion when I show up that I'm going to win or I'm going to do it. It's just a matter of how long it takes, or
Right.
you know, how much convincing you need,
Right.
you know, to come over to my way of thinking, which is that I'm doing this, you know.
Well, you're all the perfect examples that you can get it done. I want to thank all of you so much for joining me this morning. Again, I mean, this is a conversation we could have for another hour or so.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, and you're an inspiration to so many, Captain.
Thank you.
And Renee, Bridgette.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.